everyone, welcome back. So it's Sarah here, Creating with Sarah, and today's video we are going to talk about Books in the Freezer's Readathon. Yes! Alright, so I'm so excited to share this with you guys. This is a readathon that I am going to participate in. Now this is hosted by Stephanie, that's what she read, and Rachel, the Shades of Orange. They are both booktubers here on YouTube. I will put their information down below. But what's most exciting is they host their very own horror podcast called Books in the Freezer. You should go check it out. I've been listening and dying over it, and it's definitely going to be in my September favorites whenever I post that up. They also have their Books in the Freezer Insta that you guys can follow, so definitely show them some love. So in celebration, they are going to be hosting a horror readathon called Books in the Freezer Readathon. There are 5 challenges that goes with this reading challenge. It starts October 1st through the 14th, so you get plenty of time to read your favorite horror books. So let's just go ahead and get into the challenges. Challenge number uno. Read from, okay, so this one I got a little confused though. I took it as read it from a horror female author, but I think it's read a horror by a female author. I don't think it really matters. I think you just need to read a horror book by a female author. It's probably easier, but I took it the other way around to read a female horror author. I will be reading V.C. Andrews' Ruby. This is the first book out of 5. And with some sad news that I discovered after I had this book. I love, you guys know V.C. Andrews from Flowers in the Attic. Have you seen the movie? Yes, I've seen the movie before I read the book. But it's an amazing story. V.C. Andrews is a gothic horror writer back in the 80s. And I think they want to say that she wrote or completed almost, I think, 6 books. Don't quote me on that. But she had a ghostwriter after 86. Unfortunately, V.C. Andrews, after the film of Flowers in the Attic, she had passed by cancer. And so she had a ghostwriter named Andrew Niedermeyer, who after that was a tribute author for her stories, for her family sagas that she's really known for. So he had actually wrote this one, I want to say inspired, in 1994 when this was published, but it's actually the first out of the collection. And it's about the Landry family based in Louisiana. It just had like a creepy story based in the South, because you guys know I want to read stuff about that. I mean, and look at the back, it's amazing. So yes, her ghostwriter is still writing. I would say most of his writing is in the late, like 89 till today, basically. So it still carries on V.C. Andrews' legacy. Challenge number 2. You are supposed to pick a book with a short story collection, an anthology, and I chose a book that actually I think Rachel from that Shades of Orange has talked about on her channel. It might have been mentioned on the podcast, but I'm not quite sure. And that is the Doll Collection, edited by Ellen Datlow. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I just got this book. I actually checked it out at the library, but actually ordered it because I wanted to have a personal copy, and I got this one off of Book Outlet if you guys are interested. So to cover challenge 1, because I get like that sometimes and I want to complete my challenges, Joyce Carol Oates is a horror female author, and one of her stories is in this collection, so I definitely got that covered, and I'm excited to dive into this book. It looks pretty creepy with all the dolls on it, so we'll see how this goes. Again, that is the Doll Collection, edited by Ellen Datlow. Number 3 is to read a horror LGBTQIA+, or a person of color. So I have chosen White is for Witching by Helen Omiyemi, and this book was actually recommended on the podcast. They had done an interview with a female author, with Christy Demistries. I think I'm saying her last name right. I'm not sure. I apologize, but she's a new author to me. But they had interviewed her on their podcast, which again, you should definitely check out. I love the fact that they do interviews with horror inspired authors. But this is the book that I chose for person of color. I can't wait to dive into it. especially if it was recommended and that the story was well written. Okay, moving on to challenge number 4 is to read a horror movie adaptation. So, what I have chosen is something that's a goal for me as well, and you guys are going to be making history with me. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I have a top 50 authors that I'd like to read from, and then I have personal 5 reading goals for myself to complete by the end of the year. And one of those is to read a Stephen King novel, yes. Now, I have seen over 20 movie adaptations from Stephen King because I am a horror queen addict. Like, I love horror movies all year round. That's something that might be like, what to you guys? I get weird sharing that because, you know, people don't always take horror lightly. But anyhow, I've never read a Stephen King book. So, this is going to be for my movie adaptation because this is actually one of the movies I have not seen. And I'm so excited that I found a copy at my local library bookstore. And that is Firestarter by Stephen King with the amazing Drew Barrymore horror child. She is just too cute. And I'm going to be able to watch that on Amazon Prime. I'm just going to rent it. I think it was like $3.99 when I looked it up. But yeah, this will be my first book read by Stephen King ever. We're making history together. And it's one of the movies I haven't seen for him, so I'm so excited to dive into this. So that takes care of challenge number 4. Last one, challenge number 5 is to read a horror book that was recommended off their podcast. Now, this book I'm excited for. It's a first-time author for me, and I believe this book was recommended in their very first episode on their podcast. And this is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. I believe this was under their haunted house episode, I believe. But definitely check them out. I will put all that information down below. But this is, if you can tell by the illustration, this is a library book. I have ordered this. It just hasn't come to me yet in the mail. But I can't wait to dive into this. This is my, these two are my anticipated reads. Like, I'm so excited to dig into these. But this one takes place, as you can tell, sort of like an IKEA store, and I think this is something like, this gives me Shaun of the Dead. I think that's a zombie movie. I know, I'm referencing horror movies to books, but it does take place in a store, in a furniture store, and something crazy happens with the employees. So I'm excited to dive in. I mean, check out the cover. It's just so, I think this is going to be funny is what it is. It's going to be one of those horror funny stories. So I'm excited to check that out. So hopefully you guys stuck with me through this whole video. As you can tell, I'm so excited. But I can't wait to start this Books in the Freezer readathon. Again, it starts October 1st through the 14th. So you definitely have some time to get your TBR ready. But definitely follow me on my Instagram feed because I will be participating in the Instagram challenges. Maybe not all of them, but some of them, because they will be hosting Instagram challenges as well. But thanks for watching, and I'll check you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.